holding on to.
There are 5 things wrong with this picture. Can you spot them?
There's a feeling inside my heart, beat. I keep hearing it, always on repeat.
Too many people think a great sounding vocal comes from what happens after the mic, in the mix. But the truth is, the real magic starts before your voice even hits the mic. And even if you take voice lessons, vocal coaching and vocal producing are not the same thing. We're going over more than 30 tips I wish someone had given me before I started recording. Things from the technical side to the subtle, nuanced vocal stylings that make artists like Tate McRae, Sabrina Carpenter, and Dua Lipa stay on the charts. First, here are some quick technicals to recap because they're boring and easy to forget. Careful not to fall into the trap of headphone bleed. If music is too loud in the headphones and it bleeds into the mic, this can cause phasing issues. It won't sound good. I know you want to have it loud so you can get in the zone, but you also want the track to sound good. So train yourself to get used to recording with the track a little lower. Okay, next, recording with one headphone off. This is highly debated, but I still think you give a better performance if you focus on listening to the voice coming out of your mouth into your ear, not the voice that travels through the mic and the wires in the system back to you into your headphones. Take one ear off and listen to your true voice coming out of your mouth. Now, I want you to get in the vibe. You can definitely move a little, dance a little, but try this trick. Don't be a bobblehead, be a bobble body. Try to keep your head stationary where it needs to be in front of the mic, and then you can move around below that, but just don't bump into anything. Definitely don't forget to set the correct mic height, mic distance, have a pop filter in your setup. We went over all those things in our last video, how to set up a vocal session. So if you haven't seen it yet, it is a must. Okay, and last boring tip, be aware of weird noises that the mic can pick up. Take off your jewelry. If you have a lyric sheet, make sure you're not holding it and rustling the paper. Maybe try not to wear a super squeaky leather jacket or a bubble goose, and definitely don't tap your foot. Something I like to do to catch the beat is just to tap my finger into my palm so it won't affect the sound. Watch out that your chair doesn't squeak, that your headphones don't squeak, and watch out for all those weird mouth sounds like too much saliva, lip smacking. Something I'm definitely guilty of is cracking open a fizzy water. I did that one time and I realized, oh my gosh, I could hear the bubbles in the mic. So I'm not allowed to drink fizzy drinks while recording. All right, part 2. I want to talk about some ways you can nail the vocal take. You should always warm up. I like to yawn, open the soft palate, stretch my face, and then I just follow along to some app to warm up my voice. Remember to engage your core for a more accurate, intentional performance. Pitchiness when recording is actually quite common because our ears are covered by headphones. So some tricks to staying on pitch that work for me, I might raise my eyebrows on those higher notes or actually look up with my eyes. You definitely catch me following the melody with my hand, Mariah Carey style. If you start to fatigue after a few takes in a row, take a step back physically and take a nice deep breath and just shake it out. It totally works. Reset and go back in. Here's something I actually do every time. I prepare for the first note of my take by singing the first word a couple times during pre-roll. Side note, pre-roll, if you don't know the term, is those few bars before you start recording. It sounds like this. There's a feeling inside my heart, beat. Another thing you might want to do is consider re-recording verse 1 after you finished recording verse 2, because you might be more warmed up by the time you get to the second verse. So go back and hit it again. I highly recommend just sticking to recording 1 or 2 lines at a time. You definitely don't need to do the entire chorus all at once. And if you are going to stop at the end of the second line, you should still follow through. Just say the first couple words of the next line. It'll make it easier to edit. I do this even when I forget the words to the next line. I just make something up so that the breath still lines up correctly. All right, I want to share some tricks of the trade. These are some things I learned in my time as a songwriter for Sony, working with producers like Louis Bell, August Rigo, Taj Jackson, and others. These are the same tips they use to vocal produce artists like Post Malone, Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, and even Janet Jackson. Okay, here we go. Try to sing the emotion of the word. For example, sing the word feel in a way that suggests to the listener that you're feeling it. I feel it, I feel it. Think about how you would speak when you feel a certain type of way. How do you speak when you're angry? How do you speak when you're in love? Can that come through in your performance? Next one, be 100% committed. If you're gonna be silly, be 100% silly, and I promise it'll still sound good. If you are 80% silly, it will sound awkward. I mean, have you heard Nicki Minaj ever? She is so weird, and it's perfect because she's committed. Next, play around with the use and non-use of vibrato. If I try. Hear the difference? Be intentional with that. All right, this is my favorite tip. Play around with being more choppy than legato. Legato is words sounding like they're more connected like this. It might be awkward to sing words that are so extra separated, but if done in a way that sounds effortless, it sounds really dope. And a lot of top 40 artists do this. It also helps the listeners understand the words better. Okay, make it sound easy to sing is a mantra I use. I did a Beyonce cover once, and her songs can be so hard to sing, but she makes it sound so effortless. Relax your shoulders. You can do as many takes as you need. That's my favorite part about recording. Speaking of effortless, I used to hear over and over in the studio, you gotta sing with more swag. If I were to describe how I sing with swag, I'd say it's like feeling like your face is melting off or like your arms are just hanging low, giving almost this lazy feeling, like your body is bored. The result is it sounds like you're not trying too hard. Sounds effortless. And that's what swag sounds like on the mic. Get to know your different tones. I wouldn't be surprised if you can sing in more ways than you think. Can you sing more round and powerful? Can you sing with more air? Maybe more breath, making it light and airy? Can you experiment with different inner mouth shapes? Try holding the shape of an R while you sing. What does that sound like? A great way to practice this is to listen to several different singers, notice their tone, and just try to mimic them. Try adding a little more breath, like a tiny exhale after the last word of a phrase. A big one is try smiling while singing and see how it brightens up the part. For long held out emotional notes, try saving the vibrato till the very last moment. Okay guys, now that you've got the performance stuff down, I want to talk a little bit about vocal arrangement, how to come up with background vocals the top 40 way. Firstly, on the pre-chorus or chorus, I like to add doubles or stacks, just to clear up any confusion because a double sounds like 2. If it's the same melody as the lead vocal, adding doubles would mean you record 2 more takes of the lead. So technically, you'll end up with 3 of the main melody, 1 pan center, 2 background vocals panned left and right. I tend to not add doubles on verses, only to highlight certain important moments. It's totally a cool vibe to add some background doubles on certain words instead of the whole section. And a tip for this, mouth the words silently that you're not gonna say, and then just say the words that you are. This will keep you perfectly in time with the lead. Something that could add really cool dimension and texture is to try singing the doubles in a slightly more airy tone than the lead. Singing in a softer tone might make the backgrounds feel more like a supportive role. In addition to doubles, we love harmonies. If you know how to come up with harmonies, amazing. But please record them in sets of 2, pan them left and right, and try to spread out the vocals by making their panning slightly different. My doubles are always 100-100, my first harmony is 90-90, then I go 80-80, 70-70, and so on. But here's a tip for coming up with harmonies. If you know how to sing a scale, an easy way to find a harmony is to start on the note of your lead and count up to the third by singing a scale. Your lead vocal note is going to be scale degree 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 3. 3 is a common harmony. So is 5. 3, 4, 5, 1, 5. 1, 3, 5. Those are your harmony notes. Counterpoint is a super cool secret weapon. Counterpoint is backgrounds that don't do the same thing as the lead. Think of counterpoint like call and response, filling in the space between lines, which you can do with lyrics or just ohs and ahs. It can even be a more intricate melody of oohs that move underneath the vocal. This usually sounds really impressive even if you don't use harmonies. It tends to work really well if you do the opposite of what the lead is doing rhythmically. So a fast wordy chorus feels really good with long held out ahs underneath. Or if the lead is a long held out note, add something choppy underneath. Just try not to be too distracting and don't step on the lead's toes. Okay, ad-libs. I love to throw ad-libs at least on the final chorus. You really just have to practice this and get better at coming up with ad-libs because it really is supposed to be a freestyle flow state. I learned how to come up with ad-libs by just singing along with the ad-libs of famous artists, and then I would just try to do my own. It'll come to you. Okay, I don't know if I made up this word, but rap-libs, these can be an added bonus if it makes sense in your genre. Super short, little non-sung textures can add that extra seasoning to the song, like, yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah. Holding on to something I can't touch. Come on. I just want to, yeah, live inside your love. There's a feeling inside my heart. Beat. I keep hearing it, always on repeat. Oh, 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 always on my mind. Oh, 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 always on my mind.
All right, if you learned something new today, please make sure to subscribe for more. If you haven't checked out the rest of this Vocal Recording 101 series, click here to jump into the next video. We've covered everything from hardware setup to software setup to vocal presets, and we're not done. So please drop a comment if there's something you need support in. I'll make a video for you. All right, guys, see you in the next one.